Hi everyone, I am Zed. Let us learn about impedance. This is Jack, who, like any other student, hates boring lectures and fact books. Once caught sleeping in the class, he was asked to leave the class. Already bored and in a bad mood, Jack gets furious in frustration. He leaves the class in anger, and on his way to his room, he comes across the power grid of his college. And a nasty plan comes in his mind. He plans to shut down the power of the whole institution. That's when he notices impedance, power factor, current, voltage. Confused and irritated, he says,
This is really bugging me. I think I need to rest.
Once in his room, he tries to get his mind off impedance by playing some music. Suddenly, the speakers break down.
What's wrong? What's wrong with my speakers?
Trying to fix them, he notices the specifications written on the speakers. Again, to his horror, it has some impedance.
Is impedance haunting me? I'm gonna figure this out.
Folks, now to the technical part.
What is impedance? Impedance of a circuit is the total effective resistance or the measure of the opposition to the passage of the current when an AC voltage source is applied. Its unit is ohms and is given by V equals to IZ. This is a basic RLC circuit. Let me introduce you to all three components of it. First up, resistor. We all know about resistors and that they follow Ohm's law. Resistance remains unaffected by the frequency of the voltage source. But the behavior of capacitor and inductor is slightly different from resistor. Capacitor. In case of a DC voltage source, a capacitor is an open circuit. But in AC voltage, capacitive resistance is given by Xc equals to 1 upon 2 pi Fc, where F is the frequency of the voltage source. The frequency dependent capacitive resistance is called reactance. So, the faster the voltage switches direction, the lesser will be the capacitor's reactance. Also, the current through the capacitor leads the voltage by 90 degrees. Inductor is another component whose inductive resistance depends upon the frequency of the voltage source. For a DC voltage source, it is an open circuit. Reactance is given by 2 pi FL. So, for very low or zero frequency, inductor will be a short circuit. Also, the current through the inductor lags the voltage by 90 degrees. So let us give the frequency dependent resistances the imaginary axis and the frequency independent resistances the real axis. So what we get is inductor current on the positive imaginary axis, capacitor current on the negative imaginary axis, and resistor current on the real axis. Now, the same can be drawn for reactance. Now, applying Pythagoras, the equivalent resistance that comes out is known as impedance and is given by this. So, the angle phi that the impedance makes with the real axis is called phase angle. So, power, which used to be VI earlier, now becomes VI cos phi.
Hey, too much of mathematics, right? Before we take you back to Jack, have a look at this.
Let us understand power factor. Theoretically, power factor is cos phi, where phi is the angle between voltage of RLC and current. Let us take an example. Suppose Jack studies 2 chapters a day.
Yes, I studied 2 chapters today.
But he understands only one.
Oh, I understood only one.
So, the understanding factor for Jack is 1 by 2. So, we can say that higher the understanding factor, higher the grades, and Jack is happy. Similarly, let's say in an industry, power actually required was 800 watts, but the bill came out to be for 1000 watts. That was because cos phi, that is the power factor, was 800 by 1000, that is 0.8. So, what we can conclude from this is the higher the power factor, the lesser is the wastage of energy.
Guys, you still there? Believe it or not, it really is that simple.
Oh, now I get it.
Once his concepts were clear, Jack plans to visit the power grid again. Once he goes inside, he notices something weird. The power factor reading is 0.8, which is much below than the standard level.
Power factor is 0.8? Isn't the standard value 0.9? That means the energy is being wasted? The university is paying more than it should? I should inform the authorities.
He goes up to the authorities and informs what he noticed. When the authorities realize their negligence, they declare Jack their hero.
Jack had a keen interest in computer programming. Trying to skip the complex mathematics, he related impedance to something he actually liked doing. So what Jack did now, created a C language program to find out the impedance of a RLC series circuit. This is how it works. It is very simple and easy to use. It will ask you to input the value of resistance, value of reactance of capacitor, value of reactance of inductor. Then it calculates the value of impedance using the standard formula. This showed that actually Jack understood the concept.